Welcome to the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, your guide to motorsports sponsorship. Here's your host, Josh Wiese.
Hello. Welcome to this episode of the Sponsored Rider Club podcast, live experience. This is our 23rd live show, but it's the first solo show. This is the first time that it's just me on here. Well, I guess I actually got, for those of you who listen to the audio version, you're not going to see this, but I got Mr. Batbot back here behind me. He stands about 3'2", 185 pounds. I don't know. Huge toy that my kid's got. I just think he's pretty cool. So he's going to be my co-host today. And I got a couple of things I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about AMSOIL. Then I want to talk about GSP XTV. And then I want to talk about finding your niche or niche, whatever you want to call it. I think I'm going to say niche today because it sounds fancier and I like sounding fancy. So I'm going to say niche, but finding your niche, another way you can look at it is establishing your personal brand. Before I get into all of that, like I said, I got to talk about AMSOIL. So they have been a phenomenal support structure for me, for the show. They've been a big part of the show for a while. Hey, Mark Shea, welcome. Last time I talked to you about their preferred customer program, so it's something you can sign up for. Actually, right on here, one of these little buttons here on the screen, you'll be able to click that and find out about the preferred customer program. But I actually want to tell you today about the dealer program. So my dad has been a dealer for AMSOIL for a long time now. That's how I actually first started using AMSOIL. What's up, man? How's it going? Jason has joined. We got Matt. We got Mark. Awesome. It's a good deal. Why don't you sell AMSOIL? If you're running anyways, might as well sell it too. Samantha, hello. So either way, quick notes about the AMSOIL dealer program, pretty cool stuff. GSP XTV, I have been happy, been working with them for a long time now. They partnered up with Jimmy Moore a while back. Jimmy is selling these axles, and honestly, they just keep getting better and better. He's been working on development with them, so he takes basically his feedback from desert races, feeds it back into the GSP program. They make tweaks. It's really good stuff. Jackie Sue, welcome, and shout out to Sunshine as well. Nice job on your first, iPad video that you generated from Heydays, and thanks for featuring me in that. Pretty cool stuff. All right, I got to get into some content today. Like I said, this is the first solo show that I'm doing. I usually have somebody else coming on right about now, in which case I'd be super stressed because it never goes right, and there's always some weird glitch that happens. But today I don't have to do that. I'm basically just here talking to you. It's actually really easy. But the challenge, though, is now you just got to listen to me. You don't have somebody else here giving all this good information. You just got to deal with me for a little bit. I have a whole list of things that I want to talk about here, but it's all related to finding your niche. And I think that that's really important nowadays. If you look at the social media world specifically, everybody has their own blog or their own Facebook page or their own YouTube site or their own Facebook Live thing. And it's hard to stand out in what could otherwise be looked at as clutter. And I mean, even just a show, right? Like, how do I even stand out? Well, I found a niche. What you do with a niche is you find a smaller target program, a smaller target group of people, and you market directly to them. You talk specifically to them. So instead of trying to reach every single person in the world, you reach your specific tribe, the people who, are interested in what you do. So like, for example, Mark Shea. Mark just said he's on the road to King of Hammers, right? There's probably a certain number of people that are like, I want to follow people who do King of Hammers type things. So they're going to pay attention to that. If he tries to talk to somebody that is, really into Shopkins toys. I don't know why Shopkins toys came up right now, but they're probably not going to care about King of Hammers. All right. So if he can find his audience and talk about King of Hammers, he's in. So that's what we're talking about. And actually, I got to call this out right now. You probably already noticed what I'm wearing, and if you've watched or listened to any of my shows, I make a lot of references to Tom Brady, who is playing in his 9th Super Bowl this Sunday. No big deal. It's just number 9. I mean, whatever. But I'm wearing his jersey right now. I'm going to talk about him in a niche that he has set up to in this whole thing. So this actually has a purpose to it. I didn't just put on the coolest ever jersey that's ever been put on the planet. That's not the whole thing. All right. Let's talk about niche. Look at this. I got a whole list of things we're going to talk about here. I want to actually start off by talking about what this podcast is all about and how I've used that as my niche. So for people who have heard me too, I have specifically said, I got this desire. Maybe one day I'd want to race something, but for the most part, I got the fear in me. I got a little bit of fear in me. I'm not a racer. I like to go fast sometimes, but only when I know it's safe. It's just not me. But I love motorsports. I love talking about racing. Great. What do I do with that? A lot of people love motorsports. A lot of people love talking about racing. What do I do with that? Well, I had to look and say, what other things do I love? Or maybe what am I potentially good at? I know I'm not good at racing because I can't even do it. I'm too scared. So let's look at what else I'm good at. I think, at least, I'm good at business. I like talking about business. I like talking about marketing. I've taken some professional classes. I got my MBA. I went to school for engineering. I got a little bit of idea how business works. I like talking about that stuff. So I said, how can I possibly look at these two things and find an audience that would care about these two things, meaning motorsports and business or motorsports and marketing? How in the world could I do that and actually have an audience? Well, I've kind of looked at what are all these racers doing? They're building businesses and they need help with that. That's where this podcast came from. That's the whole niche that I developed. There's only certain types of people who are going to want to listen to this show. And that's people who want to know more about business and marketing and how that's going to make their racing program better or how that's going to make their backcountry riding program better. You're not watching for other reasons. That's my niche. All right. So that's what I did. So that's just one example. I've literally got, I don't know how many here that I want to kind of go through, 10 different examples. And what I'd encourage you to do as you're listening to this thing, like, comment, tag your friends, but most specifically, maybe leave an example yourself. What's something that you think is a good example of a niche? What's somebody you've seen or a business or whatever that's found that niche and who has done something really good with it? But while you're doing that, I'm just going to keep going. Hey, Steve, welcome. I'm going to keep going here, and I'm going to talk about Tom Brady. I said I'd do this. I said I was going to make it happen. Oh, hey, my mom's watching. Hello, Mom. Hey there. Tom Brady again, wearing the jersey today, but what is Tom Brady all about? What is his niche? Obviously football, right? As a lot of people play football, a lot of people watch, but he has taken this to the next level and said, no, I'm the football player that is also big into family and really big into health and really big into hard work and dedication. So if you ever have seen Tom versus Time, it was his Facebook Watch series that Tom Brady put together. It essentially dug into his life and exposed his niche, which was all those things I just talked about there. And for me, that's what I'm attracted to when I think about Tom Brady. Yeah, he wins a lot. That's cool. But I'm attracted to the way in which, he structures his life, the way he approaches challenges, and, plus he wins. Did I just say that? Plus he wins. Hopefully another Super Bowl here in a couple of days. All right, so I'm going to keep going down the list, and I'm actually going to start bringing up some names that have been on this show before that you can always go back and listen to their episode, find a little bit more about them and how they structure a niche. But one of them is, I'm going to start with here, is John Ferrian. So John was on this show as a live guest, and one of the niches that he dug into was Facebook Live. He was one of the people that got me into this. I had not done any Facebook Live shows prior to this one, and honestly, I hesitated for a long time to even do this one. But John got out there, he said, I'm doing Facebook Live. He got his own personal branding that basically said, Facebook Live, Live with John Ferrian. He did that, set it all up, and that's what he became known for. I mean, I had him on my show to talk about coming on Facebook Live. So he was able to establish that niche, and he was able to take that to the next level and build a whole personal brand around it. So yeah, John Ferrian, shout out there, establish your niche. Now, the next person, this is crazy, Scott. You just joined. Scott Sparrow just joined, and I am not kidding you. You're not going to be able to read this, but legit, Scott Sparrow is the next person to talk about on my list in terms of establishing a niche. Now, there's some similarities here between Scott and John. One, they've worked together. They share a lot of best practices with one another. They've done the same to help me get started. But let's look at this here. Scott has taken the Facebook Live niche and said, I'm also going to link that to motorsports And then I'm going to link that to driven, motivation, the journey of building your brand, like behind the scenes. This is how it's done. Let's get pumped about it. That's a niche. He developed that based off the things that he liked, and he found an audience that also likes that. So nice work, Scott. And that was the best possible timing for you to hop on here, man. Like, couldn't have nailed it better. Although, Scott, I will tell you, I didn't take your exact advice when we talked about the structure for this show today as my first solo show, but it was the inspiration for what I ended up doing today. So thank you for that as well. And if anybody's paying attention right now, I am downing the water and I got cough drops ready. I cannot get over my laryngitis. I've had this thing like nonstop. I'm doing everything I can right now to not just like cough all over the camera. But either way, just so you know, next person I want to talk about, been on the show twice, George Hamill. So George was previously a motocross racer, got into a bad accident, got hurt. All right. And then from there, he took his personal branding and his niche to the next level. So now I consider George an inspirational, adaptive athlete, and he is doing great things to, build that brand up. One, he's a very good short course racer. He's got that figured out. But he's also done a lot of things to show like, hey, I'm trying to better the whole adaptive athlete, population. He's building really cool things and capturing that whole experience. That is a niche. He has found that niche, and he has basically said, like, I'm going to own this, and everybody around me is going to know that I own this. So, phenomenal job by George Hamill there. Looks like we got, there's my cough. We got Brad, welcome. Eric Nelson, you're watching. Welcome, buddy. All right. Next person here, Taylor Hyman. So Taylor has also been on this show. I think it's twice now. Maybe she snuck in for a third one. Who knows? I've done like 134 of these now. I'm losing track. But Taylor Hyman's been on the show, and she took her branding to the next level through business and through motocross. So she loves motocross, been doing it for a long time, and she went to school for marketing and business, and she's taken that thing and said, you know what? I'm building my own brand and own business around these niches. I had her on the show for the second time just to talk about the business that she formed, which is at the time was Pressbox MX. So she knows marketing. She can speak very confidently to it. And she's basically found an audience for that combines motocross and it combines marketing. Like it's phenomenal. And she's been able to use her networking to blow that niche out of the water in like record time. So really good stuff there. Shout out to Taylor. Eric, what's up, man? Hey, Eric, thanks for joining, buddy. You just missed me do the shout out to Scott Sparrow, but you can always go back and watch that in the replay. All right, I'm still going here. We're talking again, if you're just now joining, niches and how you find that and examples of people who have found that and what they've done with it. All right, I'm going way back here, like way back. Episode 11 is when Brent Lee came on, Brent Lee Motorsports, and he spent a decent amount of time on that episode talking about personal branding. And from there, he's basically established his own niche in like high-end motorsports equipment and racing. So he looks at his brand as like, the premium brand. He talked about it a ton in the show. He wears whatever the best helmets are. He uses whatever the best parts are. It was his choice to say, these are the people I want to connect with. This is what I connect with, and I'm going to market to these people. So that's a good thing. I think if you can establish that as part of your brand and as part of your niche, like establish it, own it. Like that's perfect. All right, next one here. He's been on the show 3 times, hopefully a 4. Hopefully we're going to have 4 pretty soon. But Jim Beaver. Jim has been a big help to me. People don't always see it, but just like Scott Sparrow and John Ferrion, has helped me behind the scenes. Jim's done a lot. He's kind of been like my, mini mentor. He's helped me figure out how to grow this podcast. And, he has done a great job of not only establishing an initial niche, which is off-road racing, but then taking that to the next level by, building his whole podcast world around that sport. And then he's actually expanded it slightly to where you can almost say his niche is action sports. He's done that with his Project Action podcast. This is a guy, he started racing, like, that's what he did. And he said, how can I reach a bigger audience? How can I set myself apart from the crowd? And he did it. He came up with his own shows. And now he's got 2 shows. He's still racing. He's getting back into trophy trucks. And he's got a massive following. And he's doing announcing for off-road races. Like, this guy's got it figured out. And he made the decision to establish a niche and own it. So it's really good stuff. All right. If you guys got questions too, or other comments or recommendations, go ahead and pop them in the comments. Or if you just want to leave an emoji or a GIF or a GIF, whatever you say, go ahead and pop them in the comments there. I love them. I love the GIFs and GIFs to a fault, honestly. All right, so we talked about Jim Beaver. There's another cough. Oh. Next one here. This is ridiculous, honestly. I can't believe I'm even bringing this example up, but it's true. All right, I'm going to take a diversion from motorsports here and talk about Ryan's toy review. Ryan's toy review. If anybody has kids from ages like 3 to 8, they've probably heard of this guy. Ryan is, I don't know how old he is, maybe 6, 7. He's probably the wealthiest 6 or 7-year-old on the planet, but he works with his family to create these YouTube videos of, like, playing with toys. And now he's got, like, I don't know what he's grossing, $22 million a year for these YouTube videos. They're getting 10, 11, 12 million hits per episode. He's super annoying. I'm sorry. If Ryan, if you're watching this, I know you're way more successful than I am. Like, I get it, and I apologize. But it's just an annoying show. I can't stand it personally, but, like, he's got it figured out. He's got this niche. His parents found this niche for him, and, like, they're running with it. He's got his own toy line at Walmart. Well, this might be bad. My kids watch this stuff too, and we've got them trained to call him Annoying Ryan. My wife and I call him Annoying Ryan, so that's what they like. We want to watch Annoying Ryan. But either way, like, he figured out a niche. Unboxing toys, playing with toys, going on fun toy-like experiences. It's crazy. Yeah, Scott just said, yep, my kid will watch them. Yeah, it's crazy, but, like, I mean, maybe it's not that crazy, because if I think of some of the YouTube things that I watch, it's pretty much all, like, unboxing and, how-to videos. And when I'm not watching those, I'm watching, Avengers, Infinity War, I don't know what they call it, like, what they guess the video is going to look like, what the movie's going to look like. I don't even know what you call it, but it's ridiculous. My wife hates it. Moving on, though. Annoying Ryan, like, you got it figured out, man. If someone else watching the show can replicate his success, like, I want you on this show to talk about it, because that is amazing. All right, next one. I have been spending way too much time talking about this guy, but he just really impressed me. I like him. Brad Kowitz of Trail Recon. Brad came up with a pretty cool niche, which is the Jeep world. The Jeep world's pretty big, so it's a big niche, but he has taken it to say, I got a YouTube channel, we do rock climbing adventures, we do overlanding adventures, and we do it with family. And that's his niche. He sneaks in a little bit of, alright, we might be able to pop the cough drop in now. He sneaks in a little bit of, family time, a little bit of friend time, a little bit of how-to videos, but, man, he's figured it out, and he's got it down to a formula. And I want people to look at that and say, how can I come up with this? What's my niche? What's my formula? All right, Brad Kowitz, Trail Recon. This should be the Brad Kowitz show. I've spent like the past 3 episodes talking about him. All right, the next one here. This guy, I don't know if I've talked about him too much in the show before, but he is one of the reasons why I got into podcasting. And he taught me how to via his own, like, podcast course. But John Lee Dumas, he has a podcast called Entrepreneur on Fire. And his niche when it first came out was, entrepreneurs. I want to help people build businesses. And he said, I'm going to do an episode every single day, 30-minute episode every single day, which at first I was like, no big deal. It's just an episode of podcast. Like, I can barely get one out a week without, absolutely destroying my health and well-being in the process. And this guy's knocking 7 out a day. But either way, he found his niche. He said, I'm the only one out there that does 7 a day. And he came up with his own structure, his own format. He literally will ask the exact same questions, like for everyone. And somehow he makes the shows really good. But that's his niche. He figured it out. All right, looks like Mary joined too. Mary, welcome. Thanks for coming on here. We are talking about establishing your niche and going through a bunch of examples of people I think did a good job at it. All right. John Lee Dumas, Entrepreneur on Fire, killed it. The last one I really want to talk about is Mike Pasquarella. So Mike has actually been on this show. He was on my first Vegas Reno episode live. We did a quick thing, and he actually did a couple commercials for me. So you've heard his voice probably a few times. But Mike Pasquarella has Desert Vets Racing, and essentially what he did was he said, I love off-road racing, I love desert racing, and I'm a veteran. I connect with veterans. I think other people in the world can understand that and connect with me. And he gives veterans rides in these race cars, and that's his program. And he set this niche up. He came up with some great branding, and he got the attention of Polaris Razor. So Polaris is paying attention to him. And, that's all because he picked his niche, he established a market, and he gets engagement with that market. It's good stuff. So that's really what I want to talk about today, folks. Just a quick down and dirty solo episode to talk about establishing your niche. I want to give you examples so that you can go and look at these people. You can study these people. Maybe it's going back in time and listen to some of these other podcasts and seeing their story and finding your own thing. What is your thing? I can't tell you what that is. I could barely even tell myself what it was. It took me, honestly, like a year or more to figure out exactly what I was going to do. And now it's been 2+ years that I've been doing it this way, and I feel comfortable. Like, I feel like I can confidently speak to the things that are within my niche. I want you to have that same feeling. So that's it, folks. Again, I appreciate your time tonight, and I'm going to leave you with this. Have fun and ride safe.